At my son's wedding, an incredible dishonor exposed, I discovered my gift wasn't worth the pain. Emma stood in her quaint bakery, Flour Sugar, as the sun dipped low in the Ohio sky, casting a golden glow over the shimmering cake she had spent hours decorating. This wasn't just any cake, it was Jake's wedding cake, a towering masterpiece of buttercream and fresh flowers. As she took a step back to admire her work, her heart swelled with pride. The memory of late nights filled with flower storms and icing battles flashed through her mind. Those moments, albeit exhausting, had shaped their lives together. Jake was her world, the reason she built this bakery from the ground up, pouring in every bit of love and grit she possessed. The laughter-filled baking marathons and their heart-to-heart conversations echoed in Emma's mind. Today, she dreamt of watching him marry his soulmate surrounded by family and friends, basking in the love they had cultivated against all odds. Just then, the door swung open with a creak, and she blinked at the familiar figure that stepped inside. Thomas, Jake's estranged father. The man had been absent for most of their lives, a shadow overshadowed by wealth and success. Her heart raced, and the warmth of pride quickly evaporated, replaced with dread. What was he doing here, uninvited and unwanted? As the ceremony unfolded beneath the twinkling lights, Emma could feel the tension thick in the air. Guests eyed Thomas with barely concealed judgment, whispering behind cupped hands. It was a constant reminder of the divide between her humble life and the world of privilege he represented. With each laugh that erupted from the party, she sensed a shift in the atmosphere, like a storm brewing just before a heavy rain. When it was time to cut the cake, a distant relative, emboldened by liquid courage, blasted a question that echoed through the venue. "What makes you worthy enough to raise a son like Jake, Emma?" The laughter around the table sputtered into silence, and the air crackled with discomfort. Emma's heart jumped into her throat, a mixture of anger and humiliation swelling inside her. Memories of the struggles she endured to create a life for them fought against the pain of those words. With grit, she asserted, "We've built our lives with grit and grace, not with silver spoons." Her voice pierced the air, strong and unyielding, demanding respect. Just then, Jake rose to his feet, his eyes ablaze with determination. "Mom did everything for me. Character and love matter more than wealth or status. We're a family built on honesty and hard work." His words hung in the air, powerful and raw. And yet, the discomfort remained. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Amidst the stirring crowd of whispered doubts, Emma felt a tumult of emotions swirling within. This day, meant to celebrate love, had become a battlefield of memories, insecurities, and long-standing grievances. Alone, she clutched her heart, aching for the simplicity of their earlier days, moments filled with shared laughter rather than judgment. With every smile and grimace from guests, Emma wrestled with the meaning of their journey. Could the resilience she had built stand against the weight of their past? As the day danced around her, she wondered if love could triumph over the shadows lurking around them. Would the ties they forged, strong and unyielding, be enough to hold them together through the chaos of family and history? The celebration trembled on a razor's edge, unsteady and unresolved. The moment felt suspended in time. Emma's heart pounded, a wild drumbeat pushing back against the stares and whispers that swirled around her like a storm. Jake was standing tall, his fists clenched, golden light washing over him, filling him with a glow that shielded him, but she could still see the shadows in his eyes. "Mom, it's all right. We have each other, remember?" Jake spoke like a shield, and Emma felt a rush of gratitude and hope swell within her chest, yet, before she could respond, the air thickened once more. Thomas, standing at the edge of the gathering, seemed a figure carved from stone. Was he witnessing the flames of his son's defense in disbelief? Did he realize how much of a rift he had created in their lives? Emma couldn't help but feel a flicker of anger towards him, a man who hadn't just walked away but had left a trail of destruction behind. "Jake, sit down," Thomas finally broke his silence, his voice smooth but laced with authority. "It's time to act like a gentleman. Your mother, while well-meaning, isn't exactly the best role model for enough." The word tore through the tension like a knife. Emma, emboldened by her son's fierce defense, stepped forward. The room fell silent, turning as if she had held a mirror to their inner worst. "We are not living a fairy tale, nor pretending to be anything other than who we are. The truth isn't always wrapped in gold. We have built a life together, and we carry each other, not the weight of someone else's expectations." Each word rang out, drawing strength from her vulnerability. Soft murmurs rippled through the crowd. Some were nodding in agreement, while others looked at Thomas with disdain. The energy of the room shifted, the warmth building like a sunrise pouring through dark clouds, fierce and unyielding. "Maybe you should have tried harder to be part of our lives." Jake shot back at his father. "You think things come easy for us? My mom worked 2 jobs just to give me everything I needed." Thomas's face was a mask of suppressed fury and disbelief. Emma felt a surge of strength from Jake's fierce loyalty, a bond solidified in the flames of past struggles and current battles. "Everyone here can see the truth," Emma continued, voice rising and growing steadier. "Love and commitment mean far more than wealth and privilege. Who does that truly make you?" She steadied herself, meeting Thomas's gaze. "You may be his father by blood, but Jake and I are family by choice." The room erupted, enthusiasm sparking across the crowd. Some clapped, others cheered, a few moved closer to Emma and Jake, strengthening their presence together against the tide, but as the applause washed over them like a wave, Thomas's brooding presence continued to loom in the corner. Emma felt a sliver of fear grip her heart. Despite standing tall, was this battle truly over? Jake took her arm, squeezing her hand in reassurance. Emma knew that this moment could be a turning point, but there was still a journey ahead. Would Thomas come to terms with the changes, or would he retreat back into the shadows, leaving turbulence in his wake? As the festivities slowly resumed, Emma's mind raced. Her heart filled with hope, yet it was laced with uncertainty. Could this moment mark a healing path for their fractured family, or would it merely intensify the rift? That evening, as the sky turned deeper shades of indigo, a new challenge began to emerge on the horizon, one that could threaten everything they had fought for. Emma stared at the cake, now slightly crooked from the earlier tension, and realized it wasn't just about celebrating a wedding anymore. What would the next steps reveal? Would they be able to piece their lives together despite the cracks, or would the weight of the past claim victory once more? Emma stood at the edge of the gathering, the warmth of the applause still buzzing in her ears. But beneath the surface of that momentary victory, unease gnawed at her. She could still feel Thomas's glare burning into her back, could almost hear the unspoken threats lurking in his silence. "Mom, are you okay?" Jake's voice broke through her thoughts, crisp and clear as he turned to her, concern etching lines on his young forehead. His hand was warm against her shoulder, a reminder of the bond they had sewn together in stitches of hardship and laughter. "I'm fine. Just processing everything," she replied, though her heart was still racing, each beat a reminder of the battle that was far from over. She forced a smile, but Jake's eyes, wide and searching, saw right through her mask. His gaze drifted to Thomas, who remained a fierce figure amongst the crowd, still clutching his glass, his expression unreadable. Emma felt her stomach twist. "Jake, just remember, no matter what happens next, we're a family," she said, squeezing his hand back, drawing strength from him. But an unsettling thought lingered. How could they be a family if Thomas continued to fight against their truth? As guests resumed mingling, Emma turned her attention to the banquet spread before them. A colorful display of food, carefully crafted, awaited them. She hoped a simple meal would soften the edges of strained tempers and bring warmth back into their close-knit circle. "Let's grab something to eat." She led Jake toward the table, her heart heavy with memories of family gatherings long gone, moments when Thomas had been present but so unreachable. Would they ever share a meal again without an icy tension? The memories threatened to overwhelm her, each one filled with laughter marred by silence, until Jake pulled her back to the present with a gentle tug. "Mom!" He pointed to the cake, a towering confection of hope and dreams. "We should cut it now. It's traditional." "Good idea." Emma chuckled, trying to push concern aside. She maneuvered around guests who laughed and congratulated them. The joyful atmosphere began easing the burden on her heart. With Jake holding the shiny cake knife, they approached the table. Cheers erupted again as Emma leaned in, whispering to her son, "This is our moment, Jakey. Let us make it count." They began to slice through layers of frosting, the sugary scent wafting around them, pulling more guests into the circle as the first slice fell free. Light laughter mingled with bulldozing excitement. And as they served the first pieces, Emma felt a wave of warmth reclaim her. Then, from the edge of the gathering, she felt it again, Thomas's gaze. It was sharper now. And beneath the warmth of the celebration, a chill began to creep along her spine. No, she couldn't let fear in now. The music swelled, a buoyant melody lifting spirits higher. Emma took a breath, her heart racing, then looked around. Everyone was lost in the moment, a dance of joy and recovery. But Jake's whispers of excitement quickly morphed into urgency as he leaned closer, whispering, "Mom, I don't think he's going to let this go." Emma's eyes darted towards Thomas as his chin jutted defiantly, and her stomach knotted. What would he do now, on this day meant for joy? With the weight of the moment pressing on her, she knew she had to confront what lay ahead. Would she stand firm against the unraveling tapestry of their lives, or would it all come crashing down? The aroma of cake and laughter faded as her mind spun. The real battle had begun. Was she ready to face the storm brewing within Thomas, or would it break them apart completely? Emma couldn't shake the feeling that something far more devastating was looming, waiting to shatter the fragile peace they had built. Emma served the last slice of cake, forcing a smile as she presented it to the couple standing nearby. Even in that small act, her heart raced. She could feel Thomas's eyes watching, waiting for her to falter. A wave of laughter erupted around her, and for a fleeting moment, she let herself get lost in the joy of the celebration, the delicious blend of sweet frosting and good company filling the air. But just as the laughter crescendoed, a sharp voice sliced through the atmosphere, snapping her back to reality. "Is this really how we celebrate hypocrisy?" Thomas's words were dripping with disdain, his posture rigid and accusatory. The laughter stilled, a collective intake of breath hung heavy in the air. Emma felt her blood run cold. "Thomas," she started, stepping forward instinctively, her heart pounding. "Not now, please." But he cut her off, pushing through the crowd as if she wasn't in his way at all. "Why not? Why should I keep quiet when everyone pretends that everything is fine?" He gestured around the room, his voice rising, unwavering. "I can't just stand here and let this charade go on." The guests shifted, unease spreading like wildfire, and Emma's stomach twisted. She glanced at Jake. His small face, usually bright with excitement, now mirrored her own shock. She crouched down beside him, searching for words of comfort, but their escape route was blocked. "Mom, what does he mean?" Jake's voice trembled, wide eyes turning to her with unyielding trust. She couldn't find the words, not in a moment like this. "Don't listen to him. He's just upset," Emma managed, but even she didn't believe the words she uttered. What part of this situation was just a momentary upset? The truth was far murkier. "Upset? I'm furious." Thomas roared, taking a step closer to them, his eyes locking on Emma's. "I'm furious because everyone here is pretending we're a family while you're slicing cake and keeping secrets." The tension rippled through the crowd. Some guests exchanged worried glances, others shifted uncomfortably. Emma felt herself shrink against Jake, the world around her dulled in the confrontation. What secrets was he talking about? It was a moment suspended in time. Everyone held their breath, Emma's heart hammered in her chest. She had always known that Thomas would be a whirlwind, but the force he unleashed now felt like an impending storm, threatening to tear apart everything she had worked for, everything Jake needed. Enough. She finally found her voice, shaking but resolute. You don't get to come here today and ruin this for us. Ruin it? Thomas looked incredulous. You think hiding behind cake and smiles will save us? This isn't a celebration, it's a lie. Desperation clawed at her. What do you want from me? A confession? She demanded, an edge to her voice. Don't act like you're the victim here. Thomas stepped back like she slapped him, his face momentarily softening, the anger simmering just beneath the surface. A flicker of vulnerability danced across his features. All I want is for you to be honest with yourself, he said quietly. To stop pretending everything's okay when it's a mess. The quiet cut through the crowd, minds racing, emotions bubbling just below the surface. Emma's heart clenched at the raw honesty in his voice. Was that really all he wanted? Or was it a trap designed to ensnare them even tighter? It's not just about you, Thomas, Emma shot back, feeling a spark of defiance. This is about Jake. He deserves a mother who stands strong, not a broken woman hiding from the truth. Just then, Jake's small voice broke through, innocence tangled in confusion. Is it really a lie, Mom? Emma froze, the weight of her son's question crashing down around her. The cacophony of celebration faded into silence, leaving only the echo of Jake's words, heavy with deeper meaning. Her heart raced as emotions warred within her: love for Jake, fear of Thomas, and uncertainty about their future. She needed to protect her son at all costs, but how could she if she couldn't face the truth herself? With shaking hands, she prepared to address the gathering, knowing that the next word she spoke could fracture everything she held dear. Could she unravel the web of deception that had become their lives? Or would it all come tumbling down, taking them with it? The room buzzed with a thick, uneasy silence after Jake's innocent question. Emma felt the weight of every pair of eyes on her, the air thick with anticipation. She could almost hear the beat of her own heart, a steady drum echoing her rising panic. Mom. Jake's voice cut through the tension, a desperate plea for clarity, his small frame shivering with confusion. Emma knelt down, urgency flickering in her chest. It's not a lie, honey, she finally whispered, her throat constricting as she struggled to wrap her mind around the mess they'd found themselves in. She couldn't tear her gaze away from Jake's trusting eyes, the little boy who saw the world in simple truths. Then why are you scared? His words were simple, yet they carried the weight of 1,000 questions. Emma wished she could shield him from it all, but his innocence only highlighted the tangled roots of their reality. Because. She hesitated, inhaling slowly as her mind raced. Could she really open that door? Would it crush him to know the truth? Because sometimes, people wear masks. They pretend everything is okay, even when it's not. Thomas, watching intently, stepped closer. And that's exactly what we need to stop doing. You can't protect him by pretending. His voice was unwavering, not yelling now but full of a gentler resolve. Emma felt a wave of frustration mixed with a flicker of understanding. Just stop. She said, drowning in the quagmire of their emotions. You're not helping. This isn't the time. Can't you see Jake doesn't want to be part of this? Thomas clenched his jaw, deep lines etched on his forehead. But she saw a hint of recognition in his eyes, the realization that for once, this wasn't just a fight. It was about their son, their flesh and blood, hanging on every word. All I want is for him to have a real family, Thomas countered, his voice low but tinged with the kind of honesty that made the air tremble. For you to help him understand. Not through silence, not through this charade. By now, guests were shifting uncomfortably, whispers mingling with the stillness. Emma could feel the heat creeping up her neck. A bead of sweat rolled down her brow, and she glanced at the crowd, searching for some semblance of support. But they all looked away, trapped in their own web of discomfort. Then let us be honest. Tell him. Emma challenged, the flame of defiance flaring up. But the moment she said it, a swell of fear washed over her. Did she truly want to do this? Could she face that kind of vulnerability? Jake looked between them, eyes wide and uncertain. What do you mean? Is Dad really mad? Mom, is it true we're not a family? Pain laced his words, the heavy truth striking her like a physical blow. Oh, sweetheart. Emma's heart broke. She pulled Jake close, wrapping her arms around him. We are a family. But sometimes families get. She struggled for the right words, emotions crashing like waves. Sometimes families get confused. You mean like when I pretend to be a superhero? Jake offered naively, and it was a bittersweet moment of light. Emma chuckled softly but knew it wasn't he going to distract from the gravity of their conversation. Kind of, she managed, holding on to him tightly, her eyes trained on Thomas, pleading for him to understand the need for gentleness here. Thomas softened then, his vulnerability breaking through his anger. You can be a hero, too, Jake. But being a hero means fighting against lies. Fighting for the truth. Emma's breath hitched. The truth. How could she present that to her son? The realization came crashing down. In this moment, she had to decide whether to shield him from the storm or equip him to face it head-on. And just as the silence stretched, the weight of the world seemed to hang above their heads. In that stillness, Emma felt a flickering torch of courage simmering inside her, the door standing ajar. But was she ready to cross the threshold? As doubts battled within her, she finally spoke. Maybe the real fight starts now. Maybe this is where we find our way. And with that, the echo of their unspoken truths wove tighter around them, teetering on the brink. Would they embrace the honesty, or would the facade cling to them like shadows? Could they sink deeper into the chaos together, or would this moment of truth open doors they didn't even know existed? The moment hung in the air like a fragile balloon, ready to burst. Emma felt the heat in her chest rise, mixing with an overwhelming sense of dread. Jake, tucked under her arm, was looking up at her with those wide eyes, full of innocent curiosity, where everything should be clear and bright. Mom, what's the truth? He pressed, his small voice trembling as if daring to crack the tension that gripped them all. She glanced at Thomas, who seemed lost in thought, a myriad of emotions playing out across his face. Had she just opened Pandora's box? Would the truth do more harm than good? Okay, she began slowly, each word a measured step. The truth is sometimes grown-ups make mistakes. And sometimes those mistakes make things hard for the family. But she hesitated, stretching the fabric of her courage. But it doesn't mean we love each other any less. The room seemed to inhale deeply, waiting for the next sound, the next revelation. Jake's brow creased as he processed her words. So, it's like when I spill my juice. I still love my juice, but I make a mess. Emma chuckled softly, the slightest trace of light breaking through the darkness. Kind of. But also, sometimes the mess isn't something you can just clean up. What do you mean? Jake's gaze shifted between her and Thomas, as if trying to unlock a puzzle. Emma pressed her lips together. You see, sometimes relationships get complicated, like trying to put together a jigsaw puzzle when pieces are missing. It can feel frustrating and even sad. Thomas stepped closer. And that's why we have to be brave enough to talk about it. We can put those pieces together, or at least find new ones. He met her eyes, an unvoiced agreement hanging between them. But that nagging fear didn't fully let go, whispering doubts about letting the boy deeper into this entangled web. Suddenly, a loud crack of laughter broke the moment, shattering the tension as a couple of guests engaged in idle chatter nearby. Emma's eyes darted toward the group, noticing how they were pretending not to watch. Their faces were painted with curiosity, concern, even gossip. A wave of embarrassment washed over her. This wasn't just a private battle, it was on the stage of their lives, for everyone to witness. Mom. Jake tugged at her sleeve, pulling her back to the moment. Can I still be your superhero? Even if there are puzzles? Her heart cracked a little wider, the gentle sweetness of his childlike spirit glimmering in the shadowy chaos. Of course you can, sweetheart. Superheroes deal with challenges all the time, and they also learn how to ask for help. Just then, there was a rustling near the door. Emma turned to see her friend Sarah, peeking in as if the door itself might offer her the answers they were all seeking. A nervous flutter took residence in her stomach. Would Sarah be prepared for the truth? But as Sarah stepped in, everything shifted. The room changed in an instant, faces turning to her with a mix of expectation and concern. What is going on? She asked, her voice catching the attention of everyone in the room. The air was thick again with uncertainty. In that moment, Emma's thoughts bounced between fear and the urge to break free. Would this be the moment everything spun out of control? And as the truth hung on the tip of her tongue, she felt the choices weigh heavy on her shoulders. Would they have the chance to rebuild it together? Or was the damage too far gone? The questions swirled, relentless and raw, as she tried to hold on to the threads of hope amidst this storm. One question remained, louder than all the others: could they finally confront what lay hidden in their hearts, or would they continue to wear their masks? Emma swallowed hard, her heart pounding against her ribcage like a prisoner desperate to escape. Sarah stepped fully into the room, curiosity lighting her expression. She glanced between Emma, Jake, and Thomas, her eyes narrowing just a little, as if piecing together the story without a single word being shared. I know this must be a complicated time," Sarah began, her voice soft. "Yes, it is," Emma replied, feeling the weight of the moment suffocating any hint of lightness. "And it's a hard conversation we need to have." Jake, still perched under Emma's arm, leaned closer to her and whispered, "Maybe I can help." His innocent offer tugged at her heartstrings, but the last thing she wanted was for him to bear any burden meant for adults. "Not right now, love," she said, brushing her fingers through his hair gently. "This one's for the big people." Thomas took a step forward, determination etched into the lines of his face. "We owe it to ourselves, to him, to be honest." Deep breaths, everyone. He was right, and the pressure in that moment felt almost unbearable. Emma met his gaze. They had sailed together through so many storms, yet this one felt like the mother of all tempests. "Sarah," Emma began, her throat constricting, "I need you to hear this. Things have changed between Thomas and me. We're still figuring it all out." "Figuring it out how?" Sarah pressed gently, eyebrow raised in concern but her tone steady. Emma felt her hands shake. "I made choices that hurt our marriage. I thought I could handle them alone, but I didn't. I thought love was enough." The silence in the room thickened, absorbing her words like a sponge. Sarah's expression shifted from curiosity to empathy, and Emma felt the burden start to lift, even just a little. "Okay," Sarah said softly, "but you're not alone. You have us." With a small nod, Emma felt an ache in her chest evolve into something different, something akin to gratitude. It was a flicker of hope, but it was there. Jake's curiosity bubbled over. Can this be like a team mission? Like the Avengers? Both adult eyes flicked toward him, eyebrows raised in surprise, and then they burst into laughter, a moment of levity breaking the somber air. It was a reminder that even amidst the heavy truths, joy could still sneak in. "Sure." Thomas chuckled, giving Jake a thumbs up. "But instead of fighting bad guys, we're fighting the feeling of being separate." Emma squeezed Jake close, wanting to hold on to that blend of innocence and courage. "And we can do it together," she affirmed with a smile. "The superheroes we are, right?" "Yes." Jake exclaimed, his spirit rising like a phoenix. Just as warmth swelled, the chime of a phone echoed in the room, loud and intrusive. Thomas, with a worried glance, realized it was his. "I should take this," he murmured, stepping away from the trio. Emma watched him walk away, the tension brewing again as concern rippled through her. What if he needed to leave? How would they handle the aftermath of this messy truth? As silence enveloped them once more, Jake started to play with a loose thread on Emma's sleeve, his face scrunched up in concentration. "Can we still have cake after we save the world?" he asked, breaking the stillness. Before she could even respond, Thomas turned back toward them, phone still in hand. "Emma, it's the wedding planner, their SA problem with the venue." Fear clutched at Emma again. What sort of problem? His expression morphed into serious concern. "There's an issue with a third-party vendor. I think we need to talk." Suddenly, the lightness faded, and a new question hung in the air, threatening to topple everything. Would the chaos of the wedding swallow them whole before they could even begin healing? Emma's heart sank at Thomas's words. The wedding, which was supposed to symbolize their union, was rapidly turning into a chasm that threatened to swallow them whole. She felt the walls of the room closing in, the air heavy with unspoken fears and worries. "What do you mean, a problem?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady, though it trembled like a brittle twig. Thomas ran a hand through his hair, a gesture so familiar that it made her ache even more. "It seems the caterer isn't able to fulfill their contract. They missed a payment and are pulling out," he explained, his brow furrowed in concentration. Emma glanced at Sarah, who leaned forward, her expression a mix of confusion and concern. Jake, eyes wide, barely understood the conversation but sensed the shift in the room. Emma squeezed his shoulder, as if reminding both him and herself of the need for courage. "What does that mean for the wedding?" Sarah asked, her voice calm yet laced with urgency. "It means we might not have food, at all," Thomas replied, his gaze focused on Emma's face. "We need to either find someone else on short notice or risk a disaster." Every word reverberated in Emma's mind, pulling her deeper into a spiral of dread. She had spent so much energy trying to rectify the emotional rift between her and Thomas that this felt like another blow, another reminder of chaos brewing just beneath the surface of their lives. "Couldn't we make a call to someone else? Someone we can trust?" Emma suggested, grasping at threads of hope while battling her anxiety. "Everyone is booked," Thomas said with a grimace. "And the wedding is only days away." Jake's small voice interrupted their tense exchange. "We can do it ourselves. We can act like superheroes. I can help." His enthusiasm was infectious, but Emma felt her smile falter as the reality darkened around them. "Love, this isn't something we can fix with a superhero costume," she replied gently, wishing the world was that simple. "I'll take care of it," Thomas interjected, his voice dropping to a determined murmur. "I'll call the planners and see what we can salvage. You two stay here." He turned, his shoulders tense and ready for the fight. As he walked away, Emma felt a chill. What if this was just another thing that spiraled out of control? What if their attempt to heal and come together was overshadowed by a mounting list of crises? Sarah placed a hand on Emma's forearm, grounding her. "You know this is a lot, right? You're juggling so much. It's okay to feel overwhelmed." "I just wanted this wedding to be a fresh start," Emma replied, her voice cracking. "But all this, it just feels like another weight on top of everything, like we're fumbling in the dark." "Sometimes, the darkness is what reveals the stars," Sarah said softly, those words echoing with an unexpected comfort. Emma swallowed, blinking back the tears that threatened to spill. The wedding was meant to be the spotlight on their commitment, but it had become another stressor, another test of their fragile connection. Just then, Jake piped up again, "What if we make the wedding cake, too? It could be our biggest mission." Emma looked down at him, seeing the light in his eyes, and thought of the sweetness of his spirit. "Maybe," she said, her heart wrestling with the idea. "Maybe we can turn this mess into something we create together." Before she could explore the thought further, Thomas re-entered, his phone still in hand. "I have someone on the line who can help." The weight of expectation hung in the air again. Would this offer a sliver of hope, or would it spiral into further chaos? Emma took a deep breath. This was just the beginning. What would they face next? What if the truth about what was really brewing beneath the surface came crashing down once more? Thomas's expression turned from strained to cautiously optimistic as he waved his phone in the air. It's Chloe, the event planner. She's got a few suggestions lined up. Emma's heart lifted, only to find the familiar weight sneaking back in. Who's Chloe? Sarah asked, shifting slightly in her seat. An old friend from college, Thomas replied, his voice tinged with relief. She used to cater for events. I just texted her about our situation. She might be able to pull some strings. Jake's eyes brightened, hopeful for his father's news. Do it, Dad. Everything is going to be fine. But Emma could only muster a tight smile, her stomach twisting. Chloe was more than a friend, she was Thomas's history, with an unease that stirred deep in Emma's gut. Wait, when did you text her? Emma's voice shook slightly. Just now, Thomas said. I thought you thought it would be okay. Emma interrupted, fighting against the emotions clawing at her. You didn't think to tell me that you've been in contact with her? I didn't want to complicate things. Thomas's defensive tone made her heart race. Complicate things? Emma's voice rose. She could feel Sarah's gentle touch slip away as the tension filled the room. Guys, just breathe, Sarah said softly, but Emma couldn't. A rush of memories flooded her mind, of nights spent wondering about Thomas's past, the ghost of Chloe lingering like an unwanted shadow. She had assumed the wedding would soothe their pain, that it would erase doubts. But suddenly, shadows were stretching longer again. I'm sorry, but this is still your past. She said, her heart pounding. I just wanted us to start fresh, without reminders of the old life creeping back in. Thomas ran his fingers through his hair again. Emma, I swear it's not like that. Chloe can help us get what we need, and then what? Emma shot back. What are you going to tell me next? This is all going to work out. That we'll forget about everything else. I'm tired of pretending. Jake watched with wide eyes, uncertain about how to react. Emma knelt in front of him, trying to regain composure, but all she could see were the fissures opening in the foundation they had painstakingly built. Mommy? He asked quietly, can I still help with the cake? Emma froze. The idea once filled her with promise. Now, it felt like a desperate attempt to patch their flaws, but as she looked at Jake, there was something about his innocent enthusiasm that ignited a flicker of hope. If they couldn't conjure a perfect day, they could at least create a memory. Of course, love, Emma whispered, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Meanwhile, Thomas spoke into the phone, his voice smoothing like massaging tension from the air. Chloe was reassured, filled with energy. Emma could hear the determination in his words, feel his resolve. She had seen this side of him before, the man who wouldn't easily back down. Moments later, Thomas hung up. She can help secure a backup caterer and has some ideas about getting supplies for the cake. We have a shot. Emma's heart raced. Did she want to believe in this fleeting promise? Was she able to navigate the storm clouds building in her mind? Okay, she said, taking a slow breath. Let us do this together. As they gathered the supplies for their impromptu cake mission, a sense of determination settled over them. Maybe this could transform the chaos into something unique. But as Emma began writing down recipes with Jake's help, a message beeped in her pocket. She glanced down and saw the screen. Chloe had texted her directly. Let us talk more about the wedding, shall we? And just like that, panic surged through her veins. What did Chloe really want? Emma's fingers trembled over the screen, her pulse quickening. She knew she couldn't ignore the underlying truth any longer. What secret still lay buried that could shatter the fragile peace they were trying to build? The wedding was meant to mark their unity, but was it already threatening to unearth everything they had fought against? Emma stood at the threshold of a pivotal moment, staring down the chaos swirling around her. The wedding was a bittersweet dance between celebration and revelation. Each interaction with Thomas and the chaos of logistics felt like navigating a minefield. Yet there, beside her, was Jake, his innocent smile shining through the tempest. As preparations picked up for the cake, Emma felt herself wavering, uncertain if she was ready to plunge into the unsuspected depths of their fractured honesty. But then, Jake tugged on her sleeve, his small voice breaking through her turmoil. "Mom, let us make the cake like superheroes." She knelt beside him, his glowing optimism wrapping around her heart. "You're right, buddy," Emma replied, her heart swelling. "Let us do this together." The kitchen buzzed with excitement as they gathered ingredients. Flour flew into the air, mixing with laughter and love. "A pinch of this," Jake suggested, dramatically tossing sprinkles into the bowl, his face lighting up like a sparkler. Emma couldn't help but laugh, the weight on her shoulders lightening momentarily. As the cake took form, she felt a fire igniting within her. The shadows kept lurking but were now burdened with the recognition of love. Curtained by the storm clouds of doubt and history, something beautiful was mirroring their ride, something sweet and genuine that could rise above. But as they whisked together the batter, Thomas returned, his shoulders tense with purpose. "Chloe thinks she can help us find someone to salvage the wedding," he announced, the breath of hope trailing behind his words. "We'll make this work, Emma." The warmth of the moment rippled strangely against the coolness of his intentions, and the remnants of doubt clung stubbornly to Emma. "And what about the past?" she whispered, the question draping heavy in the air. Did he truly believe that this would guarantee a peaceful union? Thomas's face softened as he stepped closer. "I can't change my past, but I can work on our future. I'm willing to admit I made mistakes." Emma's heart fluttered, a flickering candle in the bones of a once mutual flame. Could they truly bridge their gaps? "Then let us stop hiding," she said, her voice growing steadier. "Let us face it all." Jake stood between them, the embodiment of hope and light, eyes reflecting every emotion bouncing between his parents. "We're superheroes. We fight together." "Right." They echoed, suddenly aligning amidst the uncertainty. The truth had become an undeniable bridge, knitting their fractured lives, and all because of love, courage, and a towering slice of cake. The afternoon merged into evening as they continued to bake, laughter flowing easily. For a little while, the shadows were pushed back, each laugh driving hope deeper into their hearts. Emma caught Thomas's gaze, both of them saw the promise beginning to take shape, like the rising cake. "Let us invite Chloe for dinner," Thomas suggested as they popped the freshly baked cake onto the counter. The idea planted seeds of unease, but Emma took a breath. If Chloe was to be part of this new journey, they'd face that together too. "Only if we can cook together," Jake piped up again, upholding that unyielding spirit of teamwork. As night fell, the din of voices filled the air. Friends gathered to share stories, connect, and break bread. In welcoming Chloe, Emma allowed herself to envision a future where old wounds could mend with sincerity and openness. Around the table, stories flowed freely, warmth encompassing them, the weight of judgment quickly dissolving into sound. Chloe entered, a charming smile painting her face as she offered assistance. "Let us celebrate all of you. Love is finding a way through the chaos, after all, isn't it?" Her words wrapped around them, weaving in the sentiment that everyone needed to feel connection. As laughter echoed through their home, Emma felt the shadows lifting one slice at a time, replaced by the dawn's gentle glow highlighting what they were creating together. Finally, she met Thomas's gaze, a newfound understanding surging between them. "No more pretending?" she asked with a quivering smile. "No more pretending," he affirmed, the weight of their past lightning as something new took root. Jake beamed, the warmth of his family stitched tightly around them like the frosting on their cake. It was only a start, but Emma felt the promise of potential interlaying each layer to come. Tonight wouldn't be perfect, nor would their journey be linear. But together, they could face it, building bridges stone by stone. And as the night deepened, Emma knew they were more than survivors of their circumstances, they were warriors, ready to face tomorrow together, come what may. So embrace your own battles. Find your truth. For love forms the brightest path even through the darkest storms. And just like that, she whispered into the night, "We got this." Now, this is your moment. You need to subscribe now to ensure you don't miss any future tales of resilience and transformation. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, and help these stories reach those who need to hear them. Comment below your thoughts and feelings about their journey, share your own victories, and shine a light on your truths. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who could use a reminder of love's incredible strength.